Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are serving up the absolute definitive guide for nonprofit leaders who are gearing up to tackle the really rigorous S9 grant proposal process. Look, if you want to avoid the common pitfalls and actually build a winning bid, you've got to construct it from the ground up, like a blueprint. And that is exactly what we're going to do today.
But real quick before we get started, please note that this video is for knowledge purposes only, brought to you by K. Ashwin Kumar. You can reach him by phone at 98491-94366 or shoot an email to winsure9@gmail.com. You can also visit the website at www.winsure9.weebly.com and watch more videos on YouTube at youtube.com/@AshwinNalari9125. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are taking this incredibly complex four-part form and breaking it down into 6 super manageable sequential phases. The S9 Blueprint Basics, proving organizational capacity, funneling target demographics, the intervention logic model, building the financial stack, and finally, securing the golden thread.
Starting off with Section 1, the S9 Blueprint Basics, setting the foundation.
So listen, before you write a single word or check a single box, you absolutely have to understand the architecture of this form. Right at the starting line, the S9 program diverges into 2 totally distinct tracks: service delivery and research. Your entire structural requirement is going to shift based on this choice. Service delivery needs field workers and community involvement for direct action, right? But the research track? That requires principal investigators, epidemiological data, and a really rigorous scientific methodology. Make sure you read all the guidelines thoroughly and pick your lane early before answering any questions.
Moving right along to Section 2, proving organizational capacity, the non-negotiables. Okay, this is the bedrock of your proposal. This is where you validate your organization's identity, and you literally cannot skip these mandatory verification steps. Every single NGO must have a DARPin ID, you need your ITR filed for the last 3 years, and an auditor report from a CA. Double-check that your email ID and website are 100% correct. Also, there is a strict no-no for any religious conversion activities. You need to know more in-depth about FCRA compliance and have a clear focus on CSR activities. Finally, prioritize the validation of Aadhaar and PAN cards for all primary contacts. If you don't verify all these required tax documents and registration details right out of the gate, your submission just collapses before it even starts.
Once your documents are locked in, you have to map out your institutional competence to prove you're ready to execute. You need to thoroughly detail your workforce types, separating your technical staff from non-technical, and explicitly listing your volunteers. Show them your hierarchy and organograms to demonstrate a really strong organizational setup. Detail the essential logistics and communication infrastructure you need for project management. If you're doing a consortium proposal, add sections detailing your applicant partner info. And be sure to list your current active projects. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have the organizational capacity to actually pull this off. All right, Section 3, funneling your target demographics, defining the scope. Now, what's really interesting here is how you strategically narrow down regional data to justify your target population. You can't just toss out broad demographics. You have to funnel them down by accurately describing local sociocultural practices in your target areas. Remember to reference research and existing data to support your risk assessments. And, crucially, you have to link your local project goals to specific national health initiatives, like the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Show them exactly how your local impact scales up to national strategies. And when you're presenting this demographic data, you have to get specific. There is a mandatory requirement to include specific data for social groups. You must visually present statistics for backward classes, scheduled castes, and scheduled tribes, so BC, SC, and ST. Using simple charts to show how you structure this demographic data is a game changer for illustrating exactly who will feel the impact of this funding. Which brings us to Section 4, the intervention logic model, structuring your strategy. This is the framework phase where you convert your broad ideas into a quantifiable logic model. Start by clearly outlining your project's mission statements and organizational objectives. Then cascade those into main activities, the specific services delivered, your targets, and your indicators. This structure directly links your project outcomes to measurable national health goals. Oh, and pro tip here, cite official existing program documents whenever you can. It totally helps prevent duplication of effort and proves you're building on what already works. Next up, Section 5, building the financial stack, resource allocation. So how do you detail project budgets? Well, every single financial request has to be backed up.
Include tips on clearly documenting past financial resources and historical annual budgets. You have to balance your budget requests against your project goals and expected outputs. It's a modular stack, meaning everything connects. Your human resources, infrastructure, it all relies on your evidence annexers. You must provide comprehensive procurement details and CVs of all relevant staff to justify every single dollar. And now, Section 6, Securing the Golden Thread, Total Alignment. So, the crucial point here is what we call the golden thread. Evaluators are literally looking for unbroken consistency across all these sections. There must be a logical thread tracing directly from your initial target demographics, straight through your objectives, and landing flawlessly on the exact budget items requested. If you ask for funds that don't match your activities, or if your local outcomes don't tie into those national goals, the thread snaps. Total alignment is the anatomy of a winning bid. Which brings us to a massive counterintuitive rule. We clearly outline the 4 main sections of the proposal form, right? Well, Section I is the executive summary, but listen to me. It is a capstone, not a foundation. You must complete the executive summary absolutely last. It has to perfectly mirror the exact metrics and project objectives you established in the later sections. Do not introduce any new variables here. Build the house first, then put on the roof. As you're wrapping up this whole shebang, rely on the support network. We highly advise leaders to keep all your contact information and digital handles totally current for any correspondence. Use the reference grid, make sure you've cited your program documents, and lean on the S9 support nodes before you hit that final submit button. All right, so I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. Your blueprint is drafted. Your tax documents are perfectly verified. Your thread is golden. But ask yourself, does your proposal truly bridge the gap between immediate local impact and overarching national goals? Hold your proposal to that high standard, and you're not just filling out a form. You are engineering an undeniable case for funding. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and good luck out there.